The rules and pass 2744, the USAID Branding Modernization Act.
Clerk, report the title of the bill.
H.R. 2744, a bill to authorize the Administrator of the United States Agency for International Development to prescribe the manner in which programs of the agency are identified overseas and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from New York, Mr. Engel, and the gentleman from Texas, Mr. McCall, each will control 20 minutes. The Chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Engel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on H.R. 2744.
Without objection.
I yield myself as much time as I may consume. Let me start by thanking my friend from Texas once again, the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Mr. McCall, for his hard work on this measure. I'm glad to be a co-sponsor. Mr. Speaker, our development efforts around the world accomplish so much, whether it's helping build a road that links a small village to a trade hub, working with governments to make their justice systems more transparent and accountable, assisting communities to get clean drinking water, or expanding access to broadband internet in rural areas. American development work is making differences you can see in people's lives. It's also projecting our country's character of compassion and generosity. So when I travel around the world and I see that USAID logo, it's that recognizable seal of 2 hands clasped in friendship on the front door of a new school or a wastewater treatment facility or a pallet of food on its way to refugees. It makes me proud. It really does. And the people benefiting from that assistance should know where it's coming from, too. We should signal to the world our commitment to development as a core pillar of Americans' global engagement. This legislation reaffirms the obligation to brand our foreign assistance while continuing to provide needed flexibility to ensure we are not putting our partners or aid recipients at risk. And it requires a long overdue audit to make sure that USAID-funded projects are appropriately branded in the field. This is something Mr. McCall and I have been working on closely together. I'm going to enter in the record a letter on this issue that he and I wrote to the USAID administrator, our former House colleague Mark Green. And I'm glad we're moving ahead with this legislation, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Reserves, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. McCall, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself as much time as I may consume.